Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to day 2 of our Disney Princess Week podcast.
Today we're looking at one of my personal favorites from Disney, Mulan.
To save her father from death in the army, a young maiden named Mulan secretly goes in this place disguised as a man. With the help of her guardian dragon Mushu, she becomes one of China's greatest heroines in the process.
Yes. I even bought this movie a long time ago when they announced they were going to, have it on Blu-ray and you get both movies for the price of one, and they were really pushing it when they were re-releasing all their stuff from the vault.
Great voice cast, great plot line, great storyline, great animation for the time when it came out in 1998. And a lot of people, there were old favorites like Pat Morita, who was the original from Karate Kid.
Yeah, Mr. Miyagi.
Yes, and then some new favorite, George Takei, of course, from Star Trek. And some new favorite, and June Foray, let's not forget her. And then some new favorites, sort of, Eddie Murphy compared to them, was new as Mushu, Ming-Na voicing as Mulan, and another old favorite, Frank Welker. So, this was one of the best princess movies made, again, with some diversity in the princess family.
Yes.
But number 2 was none. So we will discuss Mulan 1.
Yeah, the first one absolutely was the best. With all the voice actors and celebrities they had to provide everybody, they were all perfect, especially Eddie Murphy as Mushu, and the late June Foray as the grandmother. And Ming-Na has become so iconic for playing Mulan. She's definitely been in other things, especially with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. with Marvel, but her most
she also
iconic...
was in some of the martial arts movies.
Yes.
And excellent.
Yes.
Well.
But this is her, she's forever Fa Mulan.
Right. So, this would be her role that, I won't say defined her, but this was what put her on the map and made her famous not only with the Asian community, but also around the world.
Yes.
And that's what was absolutely wonderful about Mulan.
Right. And also the animation was really, really great. Now, this is when they were still doing the hand-drawn movies. It was like a few years before they stopped doing them in the theatrical way. But they really put... What I love about when they do movies like this in 2D, there's a lot of... You see so much character and emotion with all of them. They all have their own design, their own personality. They got really expressive faces.
And the songs were really good, too.
Right.
They were not only catchy, but they had storylines in the songs and messages in the songs. They weren't just nonsensical. They really were good songs.
Right. Like I'll Make a Man Out of You, and Reflection, and the other classics that Girl Was Fighting For. They're all just super fun or really breathtaking songs. And they're all just like in your head all the time. There's also a lot of moments in there that become iconic as well, like when Mushu goes and says that he's a guardian when he really wasn't, and she said, okay, I said dishonor on you, dishonor on your cow. And you have where she's in the training camp with the men, and they kind of portray at first where, they're disgusting, they're doing weirdly gross things that, they're guys, and it's like, oh, no, of course. But, as the movie goes on, they're not just what she sees the first thing she gets in there. They really do have character, and they're fighting for their country. Yeah, they're a little silly. It didn't stop them from being themselves. But they were still fighting for their country, and you could take them seriously still, even with all the comedic moments.
Right. And I think the message that really, for me, came through when I watched it was, and of course, which is very memorable, when her father was ill and he really wanted to fight but he couldn't, and he wished he'd had a son. And it was a pivotal moment. It was a decision-making moment. It's like what Stanley always talks about, choices. We always have a choice, and his character made a choice. Do I stay here and I do this thing I'm expected to do and follow this path, or do I follow this path because I see the pain my father's experiencing emotionally and psychologically, and I can do something about it. It may not be traditional, it may not be a choice that he would make for me, but do I want to make this choice? Do I want to be pivotal in changing history for our country and our family. And it was resounding yes. The moment those scissors cut her hair.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, and that's always the most iconic part. Whenever somebody does that hair cutting scene in a movie like that, it's always a reference to Mulan. Because just in that amount of time from when she decides she's going to go and she makes the transformation in the disguise and she takes off on the horse, it's all these pivotal moments and iconic moments in the movie, and people or women just love that moment. And then when they use it in there, it's a direct reference to this, but it's a powerful reference.
And another powerful portion, a great word that you chose, is when they found out that she wasn't a man, she was a woman.
Yeah.
And then you saw a path that she was going to have to take herself. There was a lonely path, but still she was adamant in, I'm going to do this.
Right.
I've made the right decision. I've made the right choice. And then she ends up, of course, saving the world, the country, and saving the day by the choice she made. And as you said, still being herself. She was still Mulan.
Right.
But her decision, seeing it through to the end, saved the
country. Yeah.
saved the country, saved the country, and brought her family honor.
Yeah.
They told her, "Oh, you're bringing shame to your family.
Yeah.
And you should be ashamed," and blah blah
Yeah.
blah. And you could see that she was tormented and in pain in the song, but she still stuck with that choice.
Right.
And for me, that tells an interesting message, not just to the children that were watching, but to anyone who's watching of any age. Sometimes we make choices and decisions and paths, and when they don't go exactly like we think they should go, and you're tempted to give up, especially when people are negative and say things to you, and it's difficult, and at that time you are alone, no matter whom's around you, how many people are around you, but she stayed the path.
Right.
She stayed, and it paid off.
Right.
And it was not an easy choice for her to stay on that path, but by her doing it, she was pivotal in changing the outcome because of the wisdom she'd gained, the knowledge she'd gained, the fight she'd gone through, her experience in learning with the men and how to fight and battle and strategize and so forth. It all
you see in the song.
Yes, it all became at that moment, that point when it all was needed, she was there to provide it.
Right.
So, okay, I'm sorry I'm going all philosophical, but that is just
it's fine.
This movie is not just for the princess portion of the company, but just all around to anyone who's watching.
Right. And the thing is, like you said, it's not bad that you did that. It's the fact that people still talk about this on Tumblr and Twitter, and they notice things like there were moments in there that when they be watching years later, like, oh my gosh, didn't realize it was in there. Like, you knew, of course, there were naysayers, even all the way back with our ancestors who didn't think she should be doing this, didn't even want Mushu doing it because he kept failing, and he still wanted to try anyway. So in a way, they both inspired each other as well.
Exactly.
And when she didn't succeeded, of course, she still had a one or two naysayers, like, oh no, so what, she said. But no, but as far as the rest of the country was concerned, and the emperor, that you saved us all. She is a hero of China. She was no longer just what they saw, oh, just a woman and just do what the tradition says. She was beyond that from that point on, and that was the awesomest part of the movie. Even the whole movie's awesome, of course, but just from that moment is that she no longer has to feel alone in terms of, like that. So.
Right. Two things. One, and it didn't hurt, it was done with brilliant comedy. But also, we should definitely point out that if someone chooses to go the traditional route, there's nothing wrong with that. It's all about choices and decision. As long as that path you're taking traditionally is the one that you're choosing to take, and the choice you're choosing to make, then that is beautiful and wonderful and absolutely terrific.
Right.
As long as you're not being forced to do something that is not the choice that you were choosing to make.
Right.
So there was nothing wrong with tradition.
Exactly.
But she didn't choose that route.
Exactly.
And she chose another. And both routes are all right.
Right. And lastly, gotta point out, yes, there is a sequel, Mulan 2, but people pretend it doesn't exist, which I don't blame them. We do not recommend the second movie at all unless you are a really hardcore fan of Mulan, you would like to see it. Maybe you found something good about the movie and you found it to be pretty decent or actually good. And there is a live-action Mulan remake in the works.
Yay.
So we will be seeing Mulan again, this time in non-animated form. We're not sure if Mushu or some other characters are going to be in there. You know, they're going to mix CGI with it. But that's about all we know right now. There should be more news about, you know, the casting and the story and if they've altered it or not. Since Disney's pretty much on a roll with a bunch of live-action remakes again, so.
Another thing I kind of want to point out is this is when Disney was still using one actor to voice the character and a different person to do the singing. But now they have, in the majority of their animated films, the person who's doing the voice acting also sings.
Yeah.
So in here, you had great characters voiced, but you had great singers, including Donny Osmond, who had made a comeback before this, who was out and counted because he and his family were big in the 70s, and he really hadn't done anything, and he had a hit song, and then he started doing Broadway, and then this was pivotal in his coming back into pop culture and staying there for quite a few years. But yeah, it's great to point out that now the actor also does the singing in the majority of cases in Disney movies.
Yes. So, if you haven't seen Mulan, which I'd be surprised if you haven't, definitely buy it or go see it on Netflix or somehow go watch the movie and avoid the sequel.
And if you've seen it, and we know you have, probably almost close to 100% have seen this movie, tell us how much you loved it in the comments below. What's your favorite scene? Who's your favorite character? And what's your favorite message that you got watching this, whether you were a child or a teen or an adult?
Yes. So, thank you so much for watching, and tune in tomorrow for our next Disney Princess podcast. I'm Rascal Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a toontastic day.
Peace.
And reporters sitting, flashing lights, trying to walk around, man, who the hell are you? What you wanna do? Well, man, it's on you. Man, it's on you. With her in my dreams, she was my queen. A castle in the mountaintops, rivers and streams. Plucking sunlight from the sky in my pocket. Give it to you later on in the form of a locket.